Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Malign Musings. My name's Dr. Dan. I've historically done stats videos and stuff on the old world, and today we're going to be talking about the breaching of the Grand Bastion. I haven't done a lot of content, so the first to start with an apology. I haven't done a lot of content for the old Square Base thing because just a little potted history. At the start of last December, I was going to do Vlogmas. I lost my voice. I had a really terrible cold. My health was awful throughout December, and it's taken me a while to recover. I was going to go to a tournament, and I did ask for a bit of help. And I really must apologise to a chap called Dean, above everybody else, because he gave me these amazing resin, like Skaven things that I was going to paint up. And well, I mean, I am gradually painting them up, but I just, to be honest, like Cathay's just destroyed my motivation. To be quite frank, because it just makes old world pay to win, and I'm not interested in that kind of game, really. And I'm sorry to. I know everybody who runs a YouTube. You've got to be positive. You've got to be talking about positive things and positive engagement and blah blah blah. Seems to be the thing. Is what I'm quite happy being grumpy. Maybe that'll make me unpopular. I don't care. Um, I have started another channel called Strategic Realms, where I'm just going to be doing some like gaming. So I've got a Whiskerwood thing. I'll be doing Timberborners in a few days when that releases at 1.0. And I do Lord of the Rings Online, which is probably what I'm going to do a video on after I finish this, because this shouldn't take too long. Basically, it's Games Workshop following the same old pattern. They've last year, it was about this time last year, a couple of months before, I think maybe it was January, February. They did a video they released Cathay 1.0, and it was pretty obvious at the start that it was broken. Loads of people said so. It's dominated the tournament scene over the last year. Very, very few 0-win results for anybody playing that faction. Like, it's almost, And then they nerfed it because they've been selling the models for a while. So now the models are now legacy models. They're now old models. They need new models. You need to buy the new things. So they're selling you the new things, which look like this. Same as everything else Games Workshop produces. Pretty much, it's just loads of stuff on sprues, really. Yeah, that's that. And there's loads of peasants in this one with stupid special rules. Yeah, they just make them way too good. They've updated the Grand Army composition list, basically so that Jade Lancers aren't core anymore. Unless your general is a Gate Master or a Gatekeeper. And then you can take one unit of Lancers as core. You have to take Warriors and Peasant Levy now. But you'll want Peasant Levy, because Peasant Levy are the new thing, and they're great. And we'll talk about why in a sec. They've nerfed the... where is it? They've nerfed the... Oh, not there. The special rule, what was it? Winds of Yin and Winds of Yang, or whatever that was called. Where basically on a 1 to 3 it was one, and on a 4 to 6 it was the other. They've now made it so it's 1 to 2 it does nothing, and then 3 to 4 you get a bonus, and 5 to 6 you get a bonus. I think it might be there actually. There we go. Oh, this video quality is not great because I think he's maybe uploading and not letting the quality set up. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. So we've got the elemental winds here. I can remember what it says. 1 to 2 does nothing. 3 to 4 yin. The yang and yin, I believe, are the same. Everything else seems to be the same. They've still got chaos armor, whatever, for no reason. Just because they need it. So that's that really. Right. So we've got Astromancers. So basically, the new... Ooh. 8. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. Cool. I've got a number pad on my on the side of my mouse because I've got an MMO mouse, and I've just clicked on it and it moved it around the video, which I didn't realise it did that. Anyway, so we've got the new Astromonsters of the Celestial Court. They're the new characters. They're basically dirt cheap wizards. Let's just shush you. Let's just check. Where's a wizard? Oh, I've gone for null. That's why that's not doing anything. Sorry, I'm just wanting to check what Empire. Oh, for God's sakes, I would click on the wrong bloody one, wouldn't I? Would have to, wouldn't I? Empire Man. There we go. So Wizard Lord, 130, 130 points. So weapon skill 433, toughness 4, 332. These are Astromonsters are toughness. I think that's 3. It looks like 3, 3, 3, 2. So the Empire Wizards are 5 points more for +1 toughness, basically, and +1 weapon skill, actually. So Astromonsters are slightly. So they get. Yeah. I mean, with 2 attacks, it doesn't make any difference. And the fact that, Wizard Lords in Empire have no special rules, basically. Empire don't really have any special rules. Whereas Cathay, they can have +1 to cast. Their magic items are better. Blah, 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 blah. So that put that point saving, it's obviously because GW think the Chinese are cheap. That's the cultural reference they're going for there, isn't it? Then you can put them on a horse. They can be a level 4 wizard for 30 points. So that's the same as everybody else. I was half expecting that to be like 15 or something. But yeah, you've got a really dirt cheap high level wizard. So, if you wanted to take Miao Ying and I don't know, 2 level 3s, you could easily do so for like 750 points. Yeah, you could do all that for 750 points. So yeah, that's good, isn't it? And then you've got this new peasant levy, which, if you can't see, basically they've got a rubbish stat line, weapon skill 2. They've got ballistic skill 3 still, somehow. So, and you can give them a warbow, right? And I'm not sure about the magic items that you can do, but I mean, they can't take a magic banner. But what you can do is you can obviously put like a gatekeeper with a battle standard. So you can put a battle standard bearer in them. And where did there's Cathay. So you can put a battle standard bearer in them. And what can you give them? You can make them cause fear and -1 leadership. That's pretty nasty. Flaming attacks, impact hits 1. Could be good. Yeah. Extra +2 combat result. That's quite good. Could ignore spells on a 4. Make them cause fear. Shield wall. Yeah, shield wall would be great. Because shield wall gives you, allows you to give ground instead of fall back in good order. Now, another thing that they've got that's really, really cool. So they've got to take one of the weapons. So, yes, they're 4 points, right? So, 4 points. What else are 4 points? Goblins? I think goblins might be 4 points. Are they not goblins? Goblins. Goblins are 3 points. But then you can give them goblin short bows, and they become 4 points each. But they're ballistic skill 2, weapon skill 2, movement 4, 3, 3, 1, 2, 1. Short bows aren't as good as, well, I guess it depends really, doesn't it? War bows have, I think, longer range. I think they've got 24-inch range, and they're strength user, so same strength. And the short bows have got quick shot, whereas war bows don't. So, but anyway, much of a muchness. They're basically, you're allowed to take goblins. These appear to be leadership 5, leadership 6 with a character in, same as goblins. So basically, Cathay can have some goblins without the poisoned attacks, which is great, unless there's a way to give them poisoned attacks, in which case they are broken. Now, the other thing they've got is this long spear thing, which gives them fighting extra rank and strike first. So they've got pikes before anybody else has. I don't know why I'm searching Cathay Pike. I need to go to Warhammer. Oh no, Warhammer. I spend more time looking at the lore than I do at the community site, to be honest, because you know the world that people have built in Warhammer is fantastic. It's just a problem that you know. The people who own the intellectual property at the moment are a bunch of bellends. But anyway. Where's the bloody... Oh, for God's sakes. Why can't I find a picture of... Right, so these... Oh, no, that can't be right. No, they're not right, are they? They're not. That's not right at all. Where's all the new bloody models? Is it this one? Are they the peasant pike? Right, okay. So these are the new peasant spears, and apparently they give them strike first. Despite the fact that they've got these bill hooks. Like, bill hooks aren't pikes, like, you know, quite obviously. They're just spears. Like, there's nothing... They haven't even done, like... Like, you remember... well, maybe some people might remember the Regiments of Renown and, like... The actual pikemen that they actually made. They were so cool. These are not pikemen, but whatever. That's those are the rules that they've decided. They've got pikes. They've also got strike first. If you read the little text here, I mean, you can't really read it. I don't know whether I can read it. A model wielding a long spear cannot make a supporting attack in the turn it is charged. Long spear's first strike, strike first. Sorry, special rule applies only against charging enemy units, I think it says, which basically means it works in any direction. They've got close order, horde, and warband. So warband allows them to reroll armor saves. Reroll charge rolls. Armor saves would be good, wouldn't it? Well, not with only light armor, but anyway, allows them to reroll charge rolls and adds the current rank bonus to leadership. The horde gives them a rank bonus of potentially 3. I need to stop clicking this MMO thing. Gives them an extra 3. So their leadership basically 8 and 9, whilst there's a load of them, and they're only 4 points each. So you could easily, the 10 plus unit size are not capped at like 40 or anything. So you could easily get like 50 into a unit there, or 40 into a unit, and then you've got like rank bonus for days. Essentially, so that's gonna keep on going. These have warband and horde as well, so you know they are basically fundamentally goblins, but with this strike first thing instead. Which, given how much cool elite stuff Cathay have got, you know the one downside of Cathay was low model count, really, and actually fairly low survivability overall. In terms of like their normal units, well, you know, don't worry about that anymore because you got tons and tons of just chaff that you can go at now. So you know, that's fixed. That's fixed the Cathay problem. And then of course we've got crane gunner teams, which are well, to be honest, pretty broken as well. They're ballistic skill 3, which is good. They're basically Jezzails, right? I think that's supposed to say 36 points. I'm not sure, though. Oh, no, that says 16, doesn't it? Are you kidding me? That says 6... Oh, my God. So this is a Jezzail. Jezzails have one extra move. They have the same weapon, more or less. I mean, so the Warlock Jezzail's 36 inch, 6 strength, AP3, move or shoot, cumbersome, magical. These are move, where is it? Move or shoot, cumbersome, armor bane 1. They're 8 strength 6, AP2, 36 inch range. So they've got armor bane 1, which means that they're not quite as good AP wise, but yeah, the movement 4 instead of whatever. But they can have ambushes and reserve move. So you can move them 4 inches after they've been deployed, or you can stick them in ambush and they can like pop up later, because they look like perfect troops to run around the enemy and like carrying this massive, you know. I mean, that's supposed to be a metal shield. I mean, that. I mean, I've done a bit of strongman. A metal shield that big would weigh, I don't know, something like 100, at least 100 kilo, really, if it was a bit thinner in the middle. So, you know, they're perfect troops for like harrying the enemy, aren't they? Having to carry 100 kilo bit of metal around with them, considering that probably weighs more than either of them. But anyway, yeah, ballistic skill 3, strength 3, They're 16 points. The unit size is 3 to 8, I think. I think you're capped on your unit size there, which is, you know, which is okay. As a bit of a balance, but, you know, I mean, they're basically cheap Jezzails. You know, Jezzails are 19 points a model. These are, so you get 3 points off. Leadership 7, leadership 5, so they haven't even got rubbish leadership to kind of offset it, unless it does say 5 and I can't really read it. I think that says 7. So yeah, they've got 2 wounds each. They're also, their Pavis is, sorry, their tower shield is better because they've got light armor inbuilt anyway, so they've got a 6+ save, and they improve that by 3 from attacks in the front arc, so it works against combat and shooting. To be fair, so does the Jezzail, but again, that's improved by 3, so they go to a 3 up rather than a 4 up. So they've got a better save. I mean, Jezzails are pretty decent, right? Jezzails are one of the most broken things in the Skaven book. Not by a huge amount, but they're one of the more broken things, right? The fact that you can get them for cheaper, get exactly the same thing, pretty much the same impact, same effect for cheaper. You know, you can have them have ambushes and reserve models, and they're the same price. You can't do that with these. And the Pavis is better, so they've got +1 to their save, -1 movement. But plus, I mean, they just these are objectively broken. Just they are. Do they count as peasants? Actually, that's something I didn't check before. No, they don't. Just regular infantry. Then you got the Iron Hail Gunners. Yeah, which basically are blunderbuss wielders. So they're strength 3, AP 1, multiple shots D3. 12 points each. So who should I compare and contrast these with? They've got skirmishers and open order. So they are a bit like... is it in Empire? They've got like, I'm sure there's a unit that's got blunderbusses. It's like some, not road wardens. It's like, maybe not Empire. I can't remember. There is a unit that's allowed blunderbusses, and it's like men. Is it in Renegade Crowns? Or Exiles, actually. Is it Exiles? Is it one of these? Was it Brigands? Did they get... Yes, it was. Well done, Dan. I've remembered. Right, so they have 4 points for the blunderbuss and 4 points for a model, so that's 8. Hand weapon, light armor, 4, 3, 3, 3, standard profile, right? So 4, 3... 3, 3, 1, 3, 1, 7, 12. So a bit more expensive. They've got light armor already and the iron hail guns. Move and shoot. Now, they can take gunpowder bombs, which are allow them to stand and shoot with reasonable attacks, but it's D3, strength 3, no AP hits, which is, I guess, pretty nasty against the sort of stuff that you normally use to take out light infantry skirmishers. So like light cavalry maybe, or maybe even slightly heavier, medium sort of cavalry. You wouldn't really want to waste like your chosen knights or your blood knights on these, but like your normal knights, you probably might want to charge them into that. So that could do a bit of damage against them. They got these iron hail guns, which are move and shoot, multiple shot D3, which aren't quite as good as blunderbusses, because blunderbusses have volley fire. They've got iron hail guns. They've got a model armed with an iron hail gun, suffers no negative for long range, multiple shots, or while making stand and shoot, which I think is the same as a blunderbuss. Yeah, it's a blunderbuss, 12-3 D3 shots. They've got volley fire. These have not got volley fire. Like, why not just give them blunderbusses? I don't understand that. I mean, do you know what? I thought they were more expensive than that, but maybe I'm wrong. So that's 80 points. So yeah, I mean, Border Prince Brigands are quite good. The other thing is, Border Prince Brigands are rare. So these, I don't think these are. I think these are special. But these aren't that good, actually. They're not broken. So well done, GW. There's one thing in this book that's not broken. Oops, I've done it again. I don't want to press that. Yeah. Well, then what else? Then we got, onto the special rules. Now, can I find... Here we go. Warriors of Wind and Field. This is the new sub-faction. So you've got Lord Magistrate, Gatekeeper, Astromancer, Supreme Astromancer, Shugengun, Gatekeeper, Strategist, and Astromancers. So you're not allowed Shugazadi. You're not allowed the big Shugengun. You're not allowed. This is essentially a peasant army, right? But what it does is it gives. Where's where he's got his, I need a frame where he's got his hand out of the way, like that one. You're allowed. You've got to take a unit of peasants. Levy, Iron Hail gunners are there. Discipline of the Dragon. Basically, once per game, each Sky Lantern can have an aura effect for 12 inches, so they can make everything within 12 inches stubborn. Now, that's interesting, because essentially what happens if a unit's... Because a stubborn unit can essentially, rather than take a leadership test the first time it loses a combat, so it's the first time, but does it regaining stubborn essentially make another first time in terms of taking a leadership test when breaking? I don't know. But if an affected unit is already stubborn, it becomes unbreakable instead. Now, I think there is a banner of stubborn, so you could make a unit basically unbreakable. And you could do that with, if you've got like 3 of these balloons, you could essentially have a big block of peasants, stick the banner of being stubborn in it, and then every turn do Defiance of the Dragon, and then just make that big unit just unbreakable. So you could do that for 3 turns. You could put Strength of the Everlasting Empire as you can't be wounded on anything on a 2-up, so that's really good for your toughness 3 chaff stuff. And you got Fury of the Falling Blade, which is +1 movement and can reroll charge, flee, or pursuit rolls. But it's only infantry. It's only regular infantry. Sorry, that can do that. You've then got Warriors of the Field, which is units of peasant levy do not become disrupted by difficult or dangerous terrain. In addition, that's just everybody. So peasants aren't disrupted by difficult or dangerous terrain. And one unit can have move through cover for 20 points. You've then got Warriors of the Land. They can peasant levy when they're falling back. They can choose which dice for falling back in good order. So if you only want them to fall back a little bit, you don't have to take the largest result, basically. And then Warriors of the Wind, 0 to 1 peasant levy, can be given reserve move and scouts for 2 points, which is pretty decent, I think. I'm not sure why you'd want peasant levy to be scouts. I'm not sure on this one, actually. This Warriors of Wind and Field, I don't see it as being like fundamentally broken. It's not like the Miragliano, not Miragliano, oh, for God's sakes, I've forgotten the place. I can see it where it is on the map. It's not like the joint one. What was it called? The joint one with the Empire. That one was obviously a bit knackered. But this one, I don't think is overly broken because you can't really. Well, I say that. I mean, you can have. The thing is, those wizards are so cheap. You could have like a level 4 and 2 level 3, which is really nasty. An absolute wealth of chaff that just flood the field like zombies, basically. I mean, yeah, you can't bring them back, but you've got so many of them. You could then have loads of like really good shooting units just to take stuff down, like enemy characters or little war machines or chariots or, you know. I can see there being some really competitive builds with this, actually. Maybe it is as broken as everything else. I don't know. Because you've got Lancers and Sentinels are rare. Special, you've got Crane Gunner teams, Sky Lanterns, Jade Warriors. So special, you got Sky Lanterns in special, right? So that's, you know, in a normal tournament, you can take up to 3 of those. That's 3 Sky Lanterns. Yeah, it's fucked. It's broken again. Yeah, there's just no. So you can take like your 3 Sky Lanterns, 3 Crane Gunner teams. You can probably put them all in ambush. Sky Lanterns, of course, allow you to reroll ambush for everybody, I think. It's not just Hossies. I think it's all things. All things can reroll. Heavenly Beacon. Yeah, just any ambushes. So, you know, you can put your Crane Gunner teams into ambush and like probably get most of them on turn 1 or whatever. So yeah, I mean it's just basically Games Workshop have gone, you know those things we sold you last year? Yeah, they were too powerful, weren't they? Yeah. We had a year of people telling us they were too powerful and they were breaking the game. Yeah, so we've fixed that. But don't worry, new markets. We're going to do exactly the same thing with the new stuff that we're selling. Shh. So just buy the new things. Just seems to be their strategy. And to be honest, personally, I'm just really bored of companies. Like, it's just really tedious watching companies do this thing over and over again where they're constantly after new markets, right? Games Workshop, like, Warhammer Fantasy, but like, and where do I start? Like, this is, so here comes the mini rant. So that's the review of the book. It's broken. Some cool rules, some interesting ideas, but just too powerful. Again, and they do this every time. They release a load of new models and they make the rules really good. Apart from the blunderbusses, they don't like the blunderbusses for some reason. They thought they'd balance that, which is, I guess, at least they balance something. But yeah, so Iron Hail Gunners, I think they're probably fine. Probably. Because you got a maximum unit size. Yeah, you got a maximum unit size there of 12. So that's not terrible, is it, I guess? You could maximum of 36 of them on the table. They're only little skirmishers, so even Bretonnian archers shouldn't have too much difficulty dealing with them. So, and they're only leadership 7, so, you know, you kill a few and then they panic off, don't they? So they're not bad. But like, so here's the ranty bit. I don't really know where to start because, like, I'm sick and tired of. No, that expresses a level of frustration that I don't have. I am really bored of watching companies obsess over new markets and obsess over corporate ego and all this kind of stuff. It's tedious. Like, for instance, Disney did this whole thing about trying to capture this new youth market. They didn't even know that market existed, I don't think. And then they produced a load of shows that nobody really liked. And they're struggling financially now because they're not entertaining. They've lost their existing customer base. And, the new customer base hasn't materialised because it probably didn't exist to begin with. So they built out all these products to appeal to this mythical new market. Turned out it was a fictional new market, and they ended up uh, basically achieving nothing apart from losing a load of money. And then you've seen Creative Assembly do something pretty similar. Like they changed the content and made it a bit more basic, and because they wanted to get new people involved in Warhammer Total War. So then they basically reduced Warhammer Total War to lowest common denominator, and they made all the factions basically the start positions exactly the same, no different challenges. Everybody, and they just made the game basically the same playthrough for every single faction. In terms of like how you upgrade your faction, that was always slightly different, and there were some interesting and cool mechanics. But the fact that everybody starts in the same place under the same amount of pressure, like you have a legendary lord, there's another lord that's easy, ripe for the taking. You already started war with. You can just walk over them. You don't have to do anything. You literally can auto resolve and just win a battle and take a settlement. Like every single faction can do that. And then you've got like maybe another lord and maybe even a legendary lord nearby for you to go as like your next conquest. And then you build out until you've got like a few. And then the game becomes formulaic and boring. And it's the same for every faction because they don't really want people to play it for hours on end. They want people to buy it, play the faction that they wanted to play, go, oh, that's a good game, and then move on to something else. They don't want people to actually play their game for hours and hours on end. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really know what their objective is, but that seems to be that must be their objective given what given where they've set their stall out. Right? It's they want to get more people with a short attention span because late game Warhammer Total War gets really boring. As to be honest, do all the Total War games because you just end up facing massive hordes of stuff, and either you've built your doom stacks and you do cool things like have one man take on entire like armies of like thousands of people, or you've got like I don't know like a doom stack of whatever mammoths or or chosen knights or or not chosen knights chosen or whatever you've made, or you've got gyrocopters or whatever. You've made your doom stack and then you take out multiple armies, and that's quite fun a few times, and then it gets a bit boring because you're just doing the same thing over and over again, and the opposition don't really matter at that point. So those games get a bit boring. We're seeing the same thing. We have this debate pretty much every so often in rugby as well, because they talk about getting rid of the scrum because they want to appeal to new markets. And, they think that really people who don't follow rugby probably don't really understand it because the scrum makes it weird. And, but everybody who does play it and who has played it, correctly identifies the fact that the scrum is what makes rugby union. It's the unique thing about the game. So, if you remove that, you essentially remove your existing fan base. And, they've called this game, the old world. They say, and we now know this is a lie from where they're taking it, but they say because that's where they wanted to base it narratively, and that's why you have all legacy factions not being involved because they're just not there. But now they've, with this book, The Breaching of the Great Bastion, they've basically gone back on that. They did a little bit with the previous Cathay. They said that we're no longer in the old world. We're now we're now elsewhere, but they're still not then like going back and unleashing legacy factions and stuff like that. Where's the bloody... I'm just trying to find... Why does it do that every time? Like, I don't care about cookies. I've probably got billions. Here we go. Find out more. Is the map... I'm sure the map was on here. Oh, look. So this is the game map, and the Great Bastion, to those of you who don't know, I think it's even further. It's even further than that, isn't it? Boosh. Yeah, so the Great Bastion's like right over there. So this is the map that they say that the world is in, and no faction that's not in there will be supported, right, for whatever reason. So we're not going to have Skaven because they don't, because they're not really around here at this point. I mean, they bloody well are. But we're going to have this thing being featured in a game about this part of the map. Why here? Is it because, like, Warhammer Total War did quite well in China and you want to try and tap into those markets? And the fact that they've got, like, sensitivity writers in to help them write a fictional fantasy faction so as not to upset the Chinese is just... I don't get that. Like, it's not difficult to not be offensive to some other culture, right? It's really not that massively challenging, You've just got to do a little bit of reading and, like, pick a few folk heroes that people quite like and, turn them into, like, vaguely... Oh, that is cool. Anyway, vaguely historic... a vaguely fantasy version of that kind of, quasi-historic character. I mean, ideally you pick something out of legends, like, for instance, the Green Knight is kind of a bit of a mythical, it's very Arthurian, but also there's relevance to essentially old British, kind of like the Man in the Woods and the Green Man and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of green and there's a lot of like not Green Knight, but what do they call it? Essentially the French have got their own version. The Gauls had their own version of it, and so it kind of taps into that kind of. So it's obviously the Green Knight isn't based on a real person, right? It's not like there was a Duke de Vere who was a 14th century, whatever. That's not what they've done. They've made a fantasy version of like a historical character. So yeah. So anyway, I'm just bored and disappointed by this continuous like stuff. Right. So let's have a look at the stats a little bit as well and just see where they're up to. That one? Nope. Faction stats, there we are. So, what do we want? We want it from the last errata, which I really couldn't be bothered to read through because I didn't really see it as making any... Oh, look, there we go. And, yeah, so Cathay still broken massively, which is why I didn't do a video on it, to be honest, because I had a look at it and I just thought, you know what, it's just... That's not going to fix it. Like, that's not... the balloon was a bit of a problem, but it wasn't a massive problem. it was, the balloon I thought was okay. I thought you just needed to limit the numbers of them. It's a bit like when Lumineth came out and you had Severeth, and I thought that was okay from a tournament perspective. It's just you needed to limit the numbers, because having three of them was a problem. It wasn't one of them, but it was three of them that was the problem. But anyway, we've got Grand Cathay, we've got Walls of the Sea still overperforming, Wild Herd, etc., etc. And then down the bottom, you've got Troll Horde now. Yeah, Renegade Crowns are rubbish. I seriously don't understand where that faction's come from or why it's even been written. It's just so weird. Like there's so many Renegade factions that do need a bit of support. I don't understand why they've made another one that nobody asked for, really. But it's not, because people weren't really asking for that kind of list. What people were asking for was for can we have Dogs of War, please? Like the old ones, and get obviously rename the characters a little bit. But, I want Leopold's Leopard Company. That's what I want. Skaven have come up, which is nice to see. I'm not really sure why, but anyway, I think it's because there's a lot of comp going on. Like I saw this one, like there's obviously square base comp where, so essentially Skaven players are taking 2,600 points to 2,000 point tournaments, and that is balancing them. I think the square base comp, although I said it was a blunt tool originally, I think it seems to be sort of vaguely effective. And there's other comp that's trying to correct for the legacy factions to give them a bit of a bonus. So why is this alerting at me? Okay, thanks. Yeah, so, Grand Cathay still obviously broken. Let's have a look at some army lists, and oh, there's one right there. Miao Ying. Yeah, I said when they fixed. Well, no, I didn't actually, because I did start to record a video, then I deleted it because I couldn't be bothered. But basically, like, this is now with the new stuff, like, because the Shugengan Lord, right? Instead of this Shugengan Lord, you can just have 2 level 3 wizards, like, running around on foot, which I think is probably more useful than that, because you've got Miao Ying, who can, be a level 4 on foot, and you get like a little triad of magic to buff stuff up. And then you basically get rid of these Jade Warriors as a detachment, and then just take an absolute ton of peasants that you can basically make unbreakable, and then you got a couple of Sky Lanterns, and oh no, sorry, you can't make them unbreakable, can you? Because that requires the other list, and you can't take a dragon in that list. But yeah, I don't know. But anyway, this is exactly the sort of list that I thought was broken when the book came out, and that's before I read about the lanterns. So it is. Oh, that's cool. Pictures, nice. Nice looking list. Nice looking army. Very good. Very good. Oh, and it goes to army galleries. Oh, how do I get back? Back. There we go. Let's have a look at the factions. Cathay, Grand Cathay. There. This was full scale, so that was over at Rob Symes' place. Magistrate, Lantern, Shugengan Lord, Shugengan General, Sugar Daddy. Jade Lancers, Warriors, 3 cannons. Yeah, and they've still not really fixed the cannons. Yeah, they've got rid of the -1. They haven't got rid of the double shoot, though, which is the thing that I thought was most broken about the cannons. Like, the -1 to move stacking was obviously stupid and should have been comped out. I don't know why any TO would allow that to stack, because it's obviously not what was intended, but whatever. Yeah, and then this one was over in the States, and similar sort of stuff, really, isn't it? Yeah, 3 cannons. You know, and now you can take an absolute metric ton of peasants and some sniper rifles because they need that. So yeah, I don't. Oh, Pash Hammer Online. FAQ this. And the top three are Grand Cathay, Pash, Slutsky, and Shane Hall. All three good players, but yeah, similar sort of thing. Same lanterns, cannons, just, you know. It's just Cathay, and that's the thing, like, you build a Cathay list with pretty much anything they've got in the roster, and it's a good list. Like, and that's how you know it's broken. Like, even the worst Cathay list possible is still pretty competitive. You know, so I don't know. And no, I'm not going to prove that by buying it and taking it to a tournament, because that would be. I don't want to give Games Workshop any more bloody money. To be honest, I've given them enough. So anyway, that's what I think about Cathay and about the stats, and you know, the game's still broken, and that's it really. But if you want to, you know, listen to me waffle on whilst doing some slow play vids of typically city builder style games, or maybe there's a bit of mining. I quite like Mine Mogul. That might be something I do when they do a new map. Pardon me. But yeah, thanks for listening. I'm probably not going to do much more for the old world. Like, because it just doesn't really interest me, you know, anymore. I think Cathay's done it for me. Like, because it came out and I was a bit kind of apprehensive about it because it was Games Workshop. But then I read more rules and I was like, oh, actually. And then I started this channel around about the time it came out because I thought, do you know what? If it is a good game and it's well supported, then, you know, I'm pretty good at stats. You know, hopefully I should be able to help the community, like, understand what's going on in terms of the meta. Because there's a lot of nonsense you see from other people who don't really understand data, you know, who just look at, you know, it's not nonsense, it's just that they don't really understand data, and, you know, it can get a bit frustrating to watch people kind of stumble through some stats. You know, these are pretty, I mean, what Gummo's done here is, you know, pretty decent. Particularly this chart, which, you know, which is, well, essentially what I told him to do. But yeah, I did ask him to do that with where they positioned in the tournament. But anyway, and and then yeah, you know, you got this score thing, which you know, Pash is fourth. But anyway, yeah, and I think that's another. I don't. I could go on really, but you know, I just thought I'd be quite helpful. So I started this channel, and I've been, you know, hugely humbled by the amount of support I've got on here, because like it's just been absolutely baffling. Well, it's not baffling because I guess it's just, you know, I can do numbers. I'm good at people and commentary. I'm not really, but numbers I'm good at, and no, people I'm quite good at. Anyway, I don't really know what to say really, and I think that's coming across, isn't it? I'm just waffling now. But anyway, thanks for listening. Again, there's probably not going to be that many videos on this channel, so but check out my other one. You know, if you just want to listen to, if you're listening to this channel because you quite like me rambling on in the background about anything, then you'll get loads of that on the other channel. And you know, if you're a bit of a gamer, you know, make a few suggestions, and I'll have a crack at some stuff. But yeah, anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you again at something. I do still intend to go to some tournaments. I haven't been to a tournament for well over a year now, because like, again, I just don't want to play against Cathay. I might go to a tournament. There's one coming up in April, actually, that I've been looking at, because it's like a 1 day, 5 games on 1 day. I really like the idea of doing one of those. I've never done one of those, so I think that would be quite a cool challenge. and I've got a list that I'd like to. It's not Skaven, sorry, but it's not Skaven because I can't be bothered with shifting a few hundred miniatures around in 5 games in one day. It'll probably be ogres because they're low model count and easy to use, and games tend to be over quickly with ogres, one way or another. So that's probably what I'll take to that if I can. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you again soon. Well, later. Not soon, but later. Cheerio.